Welcome back, everyone. Today is another day of previews. We just want to go over what happened on day 3 of previews with Edge of Eternities and what cards are out. Number 1, Sunstar Chaplain. It's a 2-mana mono white 3/2 human cleric that at the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. For 2 generic mana, you can remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control and tap target artifact or creature. I really like this card if a mono white deck is able to go and be a thing, especially if you pair this with the white virtue, because you can stack the triggers for this to resolve first, then the white virtue, that you get to go and put a +1/+1 counter on one of your creatures from this, then a +1/+1 counter on all of your creatures from the white virtue. So yeah, I think that this in a mono white deck could be pretty good. Rescue Skiff is a 6 mana spacecraft. That's a 5/6 if it's stationed to up to 10. And when it enters, return target creature enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it wasn't 6 mana, it'd be very good, but 6 mana is just too much of an investment into it. But I think that this is going to be a filler card in Limited. Siege Ship Brood Tender. It's a 2 mana Golgari Insect Citizen that is a 2/3 that when it enters, you mill 3 cards. And for 5, 3 a black and a green, sacrifice this creature, return target creature or spacecraft from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. So, the card that I'm thinking about when I think of this card is Valgavoth's Faithful. Valgavoth's Faithful is a 1 mana mono black card, and then for 4 you get to return a creature to the battlefield. This is 5. Where this is a little bit better than Vagabond's Faithful is that this does mill 3, so it does get creatures into the graveyard for you. However, I think everything is just a little too overcosted for the abilities that it is giving. Pulsar Squadron Ace is a 2 mana 1/2 mono white human pilot that when it enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a spacecraft from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. This is good limited filler because it is a 2 mana 2/3 at the very least, or it is a 2 mana 1/2 with card advantage. So good filler in limited. I don't really see it anywhere else. Roving Actuator is a 4 mana mono red robot that's a 3/4 artifact creature. It has the void ability. Uh, with the void ability, it allows you to go and exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard, copy it, and you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. If this was 3 mana instead of 4, I could see this seeing play in Izzet and Standard. Or even like mono red burn because you just go and get your lightning strikes back to deal 3 damage to the face. Well, actually, no, lightning strike rotates out. I think shocks, burn spells. Uh, but being at 4 mana, it's just kind of rough. Reroute Systems is a 1 mana instant in mono white. To choose one, either target artifact or creature gains indestructible until end of turn, or it deals 2 damage to target tap creature. This is one of those cards that pretty much plays into stabilizing the limited environment, and it's not going to be really good anywhere else. The card that I have seen the most about since it's been spoiled, Manon the Right Hand, is a 5 mana mono blue jellyfish advisor that's a 3/4. Has flying, and you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast artifact spells from the top of your library. Artifacts you control have tap add blue. Spend this mana only to cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand. So this card is a trap. It is a trap piece of traps because it looks like it is so good because it has so many abilities that are on really good cards. The look at the top card of your library, the play the cards from the top of your library, the making your artifacts mana rocks. Where this is a problem is 5 mana for a 3/4, so it's overcosted. You're only able to cast artifact spells from the top of your library without a way to go and clear any bad cards off the top of your library like you have with Mystic Forge. You can only cast you can only spend the mana to cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand. So you do have the ability, like you have the ability to go and warp stuff that goes and opens this up, but otherwise you have to hope that your library is open up to a spell that you want to cast. And this is what I'm talking about, Commander. People are comparing this to Urza because of the mana rock ability. However, with Urza, Urza is what taps the artifacts. It doesn't give the artifacts the ability itself. So when it comes to Urza, it gets around Stony Silence / Collector Oof effects. It also allows artifact creatures to go and be tapped the turn they come out. This gets shut down by any Stony Silence effects, and you cannot tap artifact creatures the turn they come out. At 5 mana, the most I can see for this is this being a fallback card in a deck that wants to go and cast artifacts from the top of their library over and over again. Like for me, I play the better Jellyfish in Reality Chip that also allows you to cast spells from the top of your library, but it's only 2 mana, and the overall investment is greater because you do, or is the same, because you have to go and reconfigure it onto a body, but you get to split that over 2 turns instead of all having to be done on 1 turn. In Standard, it is possible, only possible, that you might want to play a 1/2 of these in a Simulacrum Synthesizer deck to go and keep the fuel going when you hit that wall, because that deck does have some issues with card advantage. But yeah, it's a trap. Monoist Circuit Feeder is a 6 mana mono black Nautilus that's a 4/4 with flying. When this creature enters until end of turn, target creature you control gets +X+0, and target creature an opponent controls gets -0/-X, where X is the number of artifacts you control. This is 6 mana, making it that this isn't going to really be played anywhere other than limited. However, this is a pump and removal spell that I could see this actually closing out a game in limited. Sammy's Curiosity is a 1 mana sorcery where you gain 2 life and create a lander token. It's a limited card. It's good. I like Lander. I don't really see it seen play anywhere else though, and I don't even think it's good. It's going to be a filler there. Like you might want one of them. All Fates Stalker is a 4 mana mono white Drix Assassin. That's a 2/3 that when it enters, exile up to 1 target non assassin creature until this creature leaves the battlefield and has a warp for 2 mana. So when I saw this card unveiled, I was really intrigued by it because you have the cards that exile other cards and you either get them back or you get back cards or you get something in return. A lot of those cards are 3 mana though. So where this stops being able to be played in Standard is it's 4 mana. And I think that 4 mana stops it from being able to be played. I wouldn't be surprised to see it though if the other effects are really there. The best mythic land in the cycle, Evendo Waking Haven, is the green mythic planet. So it taps for green, has its 12 cost for station, and for green and tapping it, add green for each creature you control. Where this is so good is green is going to have the least amount of problems stationing their planets or anything really, because they tend to have big creatures for cheap, or they have the ability to go wide or just grow through +1/+1 counters. So, well, the blue land being a Tolarian Academy is really powerful as well. It's going to struggle a lot more to go and crew that land or to station that land than Evendo will. So I think that this is going to be a staple in all green mono green decks and probably in all 2-color green decks. Once you get to 3-color green decks, the tap land might be a little rough, but yeah, monocolor 2-color green decks, I think this is going to be a super staple in Commander. Corral of the Void is a 4 mana mono black enchantment aura that enchanted creature you control. You enchant creature you control, I'm sorry. And whenever it attacks, you put target creature card from defending player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. At the beginning of your end, it has Void that if at the beginning of your end step, a non-land permanent didn't leave the battlefield or you didn't warp a spell, you have to sacrifice this. So you get to keep control of that permanent that is comes in tapped and attacking, if they block it and kill it, you get to keep Corral of the Void and do it all over again next turn as long as they don't kill your creature. So it allows you to go and keep getting creatures out of the graveyard. Or if you have any kind of sack outlet where you could just sacrifice something on your own, you could just keep doing it turn after turn. I don't think that this is going to be a super powerful card, but I think it's going to be a fun card and a good card. Biomechan Engineer is a 2-mana Simic Insect Artificer that's a 2/2 that when it enters, you create a lander token. And for 8, you draw 2 cards and create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. Woof. Okay, this is the signpost uncommon, or one of the signpost uncommons, I believe, for limited, which Simic wants to ramp and draw cards. You know, creates a lander, which allows you to ramp. That 8 mana activated ability, though, it is repeatable. So when you need a mana dump, you do have it here. It's 8 mana. It's going to be rough to play anywhere else other than limited, but you never know. Diadrene Synthesis Amalgam is X green white for a legendary artifact creature construct that has a 0/1 with trample. It enters with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. And whenever you attack, you may remove a +1/+1 counter from each of 2 creatures you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. So this is at the very least a 2/3 with trample. It also cares about +1/+1 counters. So if you're playing a Selesnya counters deck and you attack and you remove a +1/+1 counter from this and a +1/+1 counter from another creature, like if in standard you're playing Warden of the Grove that allows you to put +1/+1 counters on other creatures when they enter that are non-token, you get to draw a card and create a 2/2 robot artifact creature token. I don't think that this is standard playable, but I could see you building a really sick commander or brawl deck around it. Weft Walking. I hate this card so much. It's a 6-mana mono blue enchantment that when it enters, if you cast it, you shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library. Then you draw 7 cards. So it is a self wheel. But that's not why I hate it. Why I hate it is the first spell each player casts during each of their turns may be cast without paying its mana cost. So you are investing 6 mana into a wheel to allow you and everyone else at the table to cast free spells. But you don't even get to take advantage of it first because this is going to be, at the very least, the first spell you cast for your turn. I can't stand giving my opponents advantage in anything. It kills me on the inside when it happens. But you being able to go and you going and casting a 6-mana enchantment and then you not being able to take advantage of it first, this card is so bad. So bad. I I know you can't read what this card does because it is not in English, but I do have Scryfall up, so I'll read the translation they put on it. Cut the Fuel Line. It's 3 mana for a mono red instant. Target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. If that creature has flying, it deals twice that much damage instead. So this is like a removal spell in red. Or if you have like Screaming Nemesis, not very good. Memorial Team Leader is a 4-mana mono red Kavu soldier that's a 4/3 that during your turn, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and it has a warp 2. It buffs your creatures. It's a limited card. Fungal Colossus is a 7-mana mono green fungus beast that's a 5/5, but it costs X less to cast, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. So it is very possible in standard that by turn 4, you are casting this for 2 mana. And the reason why I say turn 4, basic forest, basic island, hedge mage, everywhere token, and Fountain Port. There you go. That's 5 differently named lands because you get to ramp that everywhere token from the Green Overlord. So you could have a 2 mana 5/5 on turn 4. Doesn't really seem that great, but I wouldn't be surprised to see people trying to pull it off. And even in limited, you're gonna have enough differently named lands that, because I feel like this isn't gonna be just like a fit to your 2 color set. I feel like with lander tokens, people are gonna go and try to branch out to 3 and 4 colors, if not 5. Remnant Elemental is a 2 mana mono red elemental with reach. That's a 0/4. That whenever a land you control this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It's a limited card. It's okay. Like, it's a great blocker. Specimen Freighter is a 6 mana spacecraft that when it enters, return up to 2 target non-spacecraft creatures to their owner's hands. And for station it for 9, it gets flying, and when it attacks, defending player mills 4 cards. I love mills, so I love this card because it mills, and I would try to mill them out in limited. Where this one card has the problem, why it's not going to see play, is you have Meringue River Regent that does almost the same thing. Meringue River Regent actually allows you to return non-land permanents to their opponent's hands, so it's better in that way. Plus, it's 6 mana as well, but it has the Omen part that if you don't need to go and play the big body, you could draw cards, especially earlier in the game. So this card isn't really that good, but it does mill, and I will try to use it to mill out in limited. All Fate Scroll is a 3 mana artifact that taps for add 1 mana of any color. And for 7 and tapping it and sacrificing it, you draw X cards where X is the number of different named lands you control. So, I love 3 mana rocks with extra utility. And I think this could be a big filler, good filler if you just want a mana rock that has extra utility. That 7 mana is expensive. However, this isn't going to be played in limited. This isn't not in limited. Might be played in limited. This isn't going to be played in standard. 3 mana, it's not good enough. You're not going to want it. But in Commander, hell, my mono black deck I think has 15 different named land cards. So in a multiple color deck that you want a card like this that can add 1 mana of any color, it's very like in Commander. If you're in a ramp deck, this could be turn 4, turn 3, that you're tapping this for anywhere from 0 to 2 mana, and you're drawing. If it's 0 mana, you're drawing 7. Not tapping for 0 to 2 mana. You're drawing 7 cards, either like 5 to 7 cards by like turn 3. I'm sorry, I misspoke there. Just like because you're able to do it. Um, this could be a great card draw spell, especially if you're playing a lot of different lands. And I might try this out in Commander in some decks, especially like 3+ color decks, just as a late game card draw spell. Survey Mechan is a 4 mana robot that's a 1/3 with flying and hexproof, so boggles. For 10 and sacrificing it, it deals 3 damage to any target. Target player draws 3 cards and gains 3 life. This ability costs X less to activate, where X is the number of different named lands you control. Yet again, this could be great in decks that have a lot of different named lands. The 10 makes it rough, though. The 10 does make it rough. Virus Beetle is a reprint with new art, and some people do run this in standard just because they want that discard ability, and it's a 1/1. Mightform Harmonizer is a 4 mana insect druid that's a 4/4 with landfall. Then whenever a land you control enters, double the power of target creature you control until end of turn, and has warp for 3. I don't like the warp ability on this. Where this becomes interesting is people are trying to go and make a Tifa deck work. Because Tifa, when a land enters, it doubles its power. This says target creature. So, you could have this and Tifa out, and use this to target Tifa. That say Tifa is 2 power, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and with one land you get a 2 power Tifa up to 8 power. Can be pretty good. This could be slot right into that mono green Tifa deck. Caveron Harrier is a 1 mana mono red robot soldier that is a 2/1 that when it attacks you may pay 2. If you do, you create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token that's tapped and attacking, and you sacrifice that token at the end of combat. Garbage. Sunstar Expansionist is a 2 mana human knight that's a 2/3 that when it enters, if an opponent controls more lands than you, create a lander token, has landfall whenever a land you control enters, this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It's mono white ketchup ramp. I can't stand it because I think mono white needs better ramp than ketchup ramp. 0 Point Ballad is a new board wipe. It's X and black for a sorcery to destroy all creatures with toughness X or less. You lose X life if X is 6 or more. Return a creature card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. If you want to go and play this in Commander because you just want a board wipe that has extra tacked onto it and you don't really care otherwise, this is fine. This isn't going to be played in Standard because you still have Deadly Cover Up. And Deadly Cover Up is a lot better. Now, they did unveil a couple more special guest cards. We have Paradox Haze, which gives the extra upkeep. I don't like this reprint. Give me special guest cards with some value. Nexus of Fate, taking that extra turn. This card where you can't play it in anywhere on Arena except for Timeless. But yet you're going to go and get it in Draft, and then you're going to be sad because it doesn't matter in your collection. But that art is super cool. And Warping Whale, which is a colorless counterspell. I like this card. It's fun. But yet again, there's 0 value to it. And another one of the lands was unveiled in the Stellar sites, Inkmoth Nexus, to go along the Blinkmoth Nexus, I believe. But yeah, the Inkmoth Nexus, really nice. It does have alternate art as well. I use this one because, the alternate art is not in English. But yeah, those are all the cards that were unveiled. What cards are you excited for? Let me know. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and follow my links in my link tree below. And especially check out Generic Commander. Until next time.